Hello, everyone, and welcome to my Ascension Messages. My name is Bobbie, and I will be your guide for today. Today, I'm going to channel some messages, and we're going to talk about how to create the new beginning that you really want. My team has been giving me all these messages through lately, and I want to pull them together and share them with you guys. Hey, Debbie, good to see you. Yeah, this is going to be huge as we're moving along, but it does depend on you. you are the first point of reference to how you are going to create this next new beginning for you, for yourself and the world and everyone, right? Okay, so I also have a video that I'm going to be producing soon. This is the presentation at Bedford Studio that was at Ground Zero in New York. So I was sponsored to go to New York by my beautiful team, my followers, and most importantly, Yin, who is Sky on the chat bar, and she put me up at her house and everything. I spent a whole month there and did all these presentations, and the one in Bedford at Ground Zero was an initiation. It was literally an activation of the balanced mind, the feminine power, and it was really incredible. So I've pulled together bits of it for you guys to watch. There's a meditation at the beginning so you can tune in with your own energy and also expand that energy as well from your point of view, because all exists at the same time, right? All is ever present, and when you receive that energy, it is entwined with yours too. So if you can go through the meditation, it'd be fantastic. If you don't want to, that's fine. You can go straight to the channel messages. But the channeling started right at the beginning because I was literally, my team was with me the whole way there. I had such a clear mind the whole way there. It was just like peace. No matter, even if I was in amongst all of the chaos at New York, and I felt like this priestess energy had come over me. It was huge. And I just started to speak as if it was what it was. But a lot of it at the end there, quite about an hour of it, I've just missed out because there was discussions that were personal. There was discussions that was on topics that YouTube wouldn't allow anyway. So I've just put what I could together for you guys. And just so that more than anything, you can get into the energy or the feel of that day and be present with us. And I think that the more that as present with that, the more helps, because we're in this together, right? It's not just me or my team that was there at that moment. It's all that become in resonance with that energy. So that's coming up soon. And the synchronicities that led me there were absolutely incredible. And I was definitely meant to be there. I couldn't go anywhere else anyway. My team literally funneled me to New York. It was like everything else just fell away and you have to go to New York. So it was really interesting how that all happened. Any case, beside that, I also have a school called Amical. I just do my housework straight up. A school called Amical, and it's an intuitive school. I'm putting up another 3 really cool telepathic lessons, which are going into portals. And yeah, it's following these kids into this portal. So I'm pretty excited about that one. And yeah, telepathic lessons the whole way through it. So yeah, if anyone hasn't seen my Amical school, go have a look, and you can tap into some of the free videos there if you just want to check it out. But it only costs a few dollars a month anyway, just so that I can get a little bit of money coming in through this. I don't make a lot of money out of it or anything like that. It's just, it's more from my heart and something that I know I really need to do. But, good to get a little bit of income, $100 a month or something from it. Anyway, that aside, I also have something else. That's right. I have a video that I've already put together about AI and the information that AI is getting. We're going to talk about Voyager 2, and we're going to talk about, or channel through messages about Voyager 2 and AI, decoding a hidden message there and decoding some messages. Now, it's so ironic that I have been channeling messages in New York talking about, because I went to the Met Museum with the Egyptian, all the Egyptian stuff, and Yin and I were like following this papyrus, just writings all along this whole big long wall, and felt like we were starting to decode it ourselves, and we were talking about feelings, and I started to channel through this information about, we are going to know more about those because we are bringing in our intuitive mind and our feeling based scenario as equal to our logic. And so all of this is going to expand in the information that's going to come to us. And then all of a sudden on my YouTube and stuff, as I get these messages saying that AI and all its infinite wisdom of logic has decoded some of it as well, because AI doesn't have feelings of, oh no, we can't go there, oh I'm afraid, or whatever. It doesn't have the fear, it just has the straight up logic. So it's also decoded a lot. Anyway, you'll see all that in that video. I want to bring that up this week. So we're going to have quite a few videos popping up this week. Haven't been doing much because I've been working on these videos, right, and the games for Amical, and I had to catch up since I had jet lag from coming back from New York and so forth. Well, not much jet lag, but yeah. Any case, hey Debbie and Annie and Yannicka in the chat bar, good to see you guys. Really happy to be here today. I'm going to really, I don't know, I released a lot last night, and I think that this might be of value of you. I was getting a message of, because I have this kind of contents, this sort of a storyline within my reality that's speaking of how I should be in this world. And I think I'm holding on to that too much. And my team was like, imagine that what you have now is enough. It's enough. Like with my work and that sort of thing, imagine if this is as good as it gets, and just accept that. And then I felt a lot lighter, a lot less pressure on my shoulders. So that might help you guys as well. I woke up feeling really light because of that feeling of releasing the expectations of how things are supposed to look in the end, because I have this storyline in my head, almost like a mission within my soul or myself. But then to get there, we need to be of accepting where we're at right now. Whether it happens or not doesn't matter. It's the accepting of our space in the moment that actually gives us a happier vibe and will align us with more anyway. But even if there wasn't any more, you're happy anyway, so you're already present in that happiness which you're trying to seek in the first place, the peace and the happiness. Yes, so that's something of true value, I think, for everybody here, that my team was talking to me about as I was drifting off to sleep last night. I love it how they give me these messages. And they always come with these feelings as well. I have a few things that are written down on my phone, so I'm going to scroll through my phone as well as we go through this channeling, and then I'll talk about what they've written down. Hey, Tonyan, good to see you. So first of all, they're bringing up your frequency. You're the frequency. You are the frequency that shifts. So you can get online, and then people are like saying, hi, and even I have, solar flares and all this is happening, and the frequency's shifting, oh my God. But it's actually, you are the frequency that is shifting. They are showing me that everything happens in the quantum field of expansion of oneness. Everything is happening all at the same time. And it's literally you lining up with the story that you want. So it's you, the frequency, your frequency that is lining up with the magnetization of the story that becomes relevant to you. It is just that. So it's you are the frequency that shifts. everything is already present. So if you can imagine every single storyline, every single opportunity, every single demise, every single sadness, every single thing that you can imagine your reality or your future outcome to be, or your even present moment to be, is existing in the now. And what happens is each moment you are resonating with that storyline, and so it becomes your reality. So you're creating your reality through your frequency. It's nothing more than that. And we have this logical program that needs a lineal story, and so the lineal story becomes manifest in that logical understanding of reality, so that we have a progression that happens one step after another. So it doesn't feel like it is jumping from two. It's not jumping from one story to another too quickly, where it doesn't make sense anymore. And this is where you become unhinged, and you feel like you're literally become a what they would call crazy. So we have, it's kind of like, how much shifting can my logical mind handle for me to jump very quickly from one thing to another? How much magic can it obtain for me to be able to jump from one not so good scenario storyline to another that's jumped into a whole other frequency very quickly? And it's that space of how that actually happens, where miracles, so-called miracles, can happen. How much can your logical mind handle? So it really is the boundaries of our own logical mind, of the stories that we are ever present with, that need to become more expansive for us to align with so-called miracles coming into our reality. That is one thing. So you're the frequency that shifts, and how much you can handle is how much it can shift. Because the soul is ever expansive anyway. The soul, the intuitive mind, the feminine side, already sees everything as a potential. That's why it holds the imagination. The imagination is millions of different potentials that you are asking yourself, do you want to be part of? And when you have the reins to that imagination, you're no longer being dependent on something outside of you, a dramatic thing or whatever, for you to feel like you are alive. In other words, watching some sort of program that takes you into a storyline that you believe could come true for you, and it's not a very nice one, then you've been directed by that program. So that asking you to come back and alter your what you choose to be part of in your reality. Even if you need to take some space for yourself, become a hermit for a little bit, just to go, I need to breathe and then readjust my alignment or my frequency to what the outcome that I actually want to be coming in. So this is how you can literally shift your energy to be relevant for the storyline that you want to come into, and create. Straight off the bat, they're right there. So I'm going to read a couple of these things out too. That was just one line that I had on my phone, right? Your frequency, you're the frequency that shifts. And all of that comes from that, right? So to create a world of no stress, one would need to feel comfortable with no stress in their life and stop chasing the drama. And a lot of us have been programmed to feel that the only way we feel is to have stress. The only way to feel alive is to have drama. The only way we feel like we're part of something is to be part of the drama. And so we gravitate towards those scenes like, oh, I wonder what's happening over there. That person's talking about that person. Oh my God, what's happening over there? I wonder how that's going to work out. And it's all drama, 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 drama. And we're like, oh my God, I got entwined in it. All of a sudden I'm speaking up about it. All of a sudden I'm part of that drama. You become entangled into the story. And so your reality is frequency matched to the drama, and you become the drama. So they're asking us to pull back from that drama and be of acceptance that you can have a stress-free life. And stress-free, yes, at the beginning, it might feel like you are missing out or a little bit boring or something like that. But when you start to bring in your imagination and scope out where you really want to go, you start to align to those miracles that can happen of meeting the right people, the right opportunities, and that for where you actually want to go. But it's not drama based anymore. It's stressless based. Stressless based. I need a word for that. Probably is a word. I'm just not very good at English, so I've only got a limited amount of words. Hey, Peter and Sky in the chat bar. Okay, so aligning ourselves with that less drama is going to help us. I know sometimes we can kind of weave in and weave out, and a big thing that they've taught me is you can go into the drama so long as you know within yourself that you can pull yourself out in any given moment and become central to yourself and go, I clear all this in this moment. This is not part of my reality. I don't want to be part of it anymore. If you can do that quicker, if you're stronger within your own self to be able to pull yourself out of that's happening that you don't really want to resonate with anymore, then you can go deeper. So you can go into those personal whatever experiences that are attached to drama and so forth, but you can pull yourself out at any given moment. Now, that would be relevant to I'm going in to help a little bit and then pull myself back out so that you can be part of you're over there now and I'm doing my own storyline, back to my own storyline again, or you just want to feel into what that actually feels into because you've never experienced that before. They're giving me a storyline of when I was with the girl's dad, and I'd only met him a few months, and we were traveling in a van in New Zealand in the North Island, and I had never felt, believe it or not, I'd never felt jealousy. I would have been about 30-something, early 30s. I'd never felt jealousy. I think my older sister took all the jealousy. She had that. Beautiful soul, absolutely beautiful. But, we all have our thing. And I had victimization plus, right? But I'd never felt jealousy before. And I remember saying to my guys, I wonder what that feels like. And so then all of a sudden, because he was in the army and he had a lot of muscly women on his walls. He liked the muscly woman. He was looking or talking to his friend about some cyclists that were muscly or something. The next minute this had happened. And all of a sudden this jealousy came up, and I was grasping at his energy to try to pull him back to me, making me feel good. And the story was really icky. I can see where that green-eyed jealousy comes in. But anyway, it shifted me to a point where I was like, oh, now I know what jealousy feels. I did not like it. I didn't like that I turned into this graspy nature. And so I pulled myself back and went, oh, okay, I've had enough of that feeling. I don't want that feeling in my life anymore. And I just didn't. I felt it a few times after, but nothing, I could pull myself out pretty quickly. But it was interesting because I literally had never felt that feeling before. And I think that's what they're trying to explain to us, is that the easier you can pull yourself out of the drama, jealousy, victimization, any of that. Some of us are stuck in specific points in our psyche. We're stuck. And we don't even see it. We're almost connected to it as if it's natural, as if it's normal, as if you just have to put up with that stress. But honestly, when you get to the point of realizing that you face that shadow work and pull yourself out, the stresslessness, the peace of mind that you can have and living in the moment far outweighs any of that attachment to the normalcy of that. And it's really worth doing the work. Any case, the next thing I've got written down on my phone is you think you are your thoughts and you think you are powerless. You think you are your thoughts, right? So you think you are your thoughts and you think you are powerless as well. And that's what majority of people, I'm not saying everybody, some people in the chat bar obviously have got over this, but I just want to bring this up because my team brought it up. This is why you are creating a life as a victim. But when you know the truth that you are not your thoughts and you as the observer can control your thoughts, so you become the observer of your thoughts, you can control them. You as the observer can shift the story to whatever you desire. So a lot of people do think that they are their thoughts, like, oh my God, I thought that, that means I am that. And it draws in a emotion, and then you tense up about that emotion. It literally sits in a part of your body as well that can become sick because of that. Sorry, they're bringing in another story and I just want to keep to this story at the moment. Sometimes this happens when my team's like, and remember this bit, and I'm like, no, we've got to stick to the same story. So yeah, but when you know that as the observer of your thoughts, you have the reins to your thoughts, you can say no to whatever thoughts you have, and then ask for the imagination to bring in something new. Now, the imagination is something that's very unique to you. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to match status quo of what is outside of you in the program that is being run at the moment by the majority of humanity. And there's a reason for that, because a lot of us come here from as starseeds from, with missions, and want to bring up all of these new stories that have long lost, been hidden or forgotten, or new stories from other planets that are wanting to be grounded here. Mother Earth literally asked you to come here to ground them. So your imagination is going to take you past the status quo of what humanity's consciousness is allowing. Or in this present moment of the program that's running. So if you see it as a program that's running, and that you are starting to now navigate through your thoughts and go, okay, that thought I don't want, literally use it as a rubbish bin. I don't need that thought. Take the rubbish out. Literally, nah. That thought's not going to be conducive to the reality that I'm going to create. You are the observer of it. You have the reins to it, and you are in control of them. And then that makes, then you start to direct your thoughts towards what you desire, even if it is an imaginative thing. At the moment, we really do need to spark the imagination, even if it is outside of the norm, because some of that, not all of it, but some of that will be asked by our right hemisphere, asking our logical hemisphere, can you ground this? Do you want to ground this? And we need to open this up. We need to let go of those thoughts that aren't relevant at the moment for us to hold, like holding us in a holding cell of being with everyone else. Why? Because we're the shifters, we're the navigators, we're the creators. Creator means to do something beyond what is here in the moment. Creator is conjuring up a new story, that sort of thing. So my team is really coming through me at the moment just to give you guys a gift of understanding that or allowance for your imagination to be vast, and allow it to come in, like even go into, like see it as the imagination that hasn't been grounded yet, but could be if the narrative of the imagination is conducive to the whole experience within the quantum field of peace and love and self-acceptance and desires, that sort of thing. When you feel into that and it feels really good to you, then it's going to be conducive for everyone else. You can't feel into somebody else and go, will that be good for you? No, all you can do is, will that be good from my own quantum field of existence. Literally the Arcturians coming through at the moment. So we have this quantum field that we need to hold in place for ourselves. We can't be reliant on other people, what we think other people need, because if they aren't in resonance to you, then they will fall away anyway, and they are creating their own story, even if it is through the drama. But you need to hold a frequency that's relevant to your happiness, and your happiness will then match the happiness of others coming in. You become a magnet to that. They're showing me frequencies that are the water that is spinning, and then it shifts into new vibration. It becomes like pools of 3, and then it becomes like it joins in with other water, and it becomes a literal pattern of they're showing me like a wheel, wheel of fortune kind of scenario, where there's a circle that relays around it, and then the circle then joins in with another pattern of another circle, and it's kind of like becoming the flower of life, the tree of life, the flower of life, and so forth. But it's all resonant to creating this new reality that's coming from within you. So we're literally gifting you at the moment like at least a small amount of understanding of how you are navigating creation from your own spark of consciousness and resonating with that. So it's got, you can't be worried about what other people are thinking. They are going to think what they are going to think. The most important thing is how you are feeling in this moment as you are creating the powerful desired outcome, and asking yourself, what do you want to ground? So it does have to come from you. Okay. Whew. Sorry, just going to see where I was up to here. I hope I'm not repeating something here. Okay. From the Cyanians, you are not expected to do or be anything other than what creates your happiness. Then happiness becomes you, and reality knows with clarity what to bring in. So you're literally asking, you are in, they keep showing me the figure of 8, you in your reality, and then the figure of 8 bringing in your reality is saying, oh, I know exactly what's going to make you happy, because you know exactly what's going to make you happy. Literally what we were just talking about. Next stage in humanity's evolution, many of us will be looking for a life that feels safe enough to explore our authentic selves. So this next stage that's happening is we are wanting to feel self-supported in this reality. We want to feel grounded. We want to feel safe. And a lot of us that are star children, or coming from out in a higher frequency, that are bringing through all this information and that sort of stuff, we literally don't feel safe. Why? Because our safety net in those higher frequencies was matching just beauty. Our outside reality was just gorgeous. It was just beauty matching us. We literally created that reality through the resonance of ourselves feeling supportive of who we were and the happiness that we were. But because we've got programs running through us that are feeling at unease, or we've seen things in this life where our energy was taken in, or we allowed our energy to be absorbed by somebody of a dark nature or dramatic nature, then we ended up getting pulled into this story, and we've still got that in our memory banks of what had happened in the past. Now, the only way to really release that is to accept it for what it was, from an observer point of view of going, well, that did happen, but now I see my value of who I am, and I am going to create this next story with absolute enjoyment of myself. Now, I can't see that outside of me just yet, but if I hold this frequency long enough, then they're showing me that figure of 8 where reality starts to see the clarity, because you are only accepting the clarity of your happiest state. And so reality has to bend towards it. Remember, there is no spoon in the matrix. It doesn't exist. It is all coming from the mind and the programs that you are running from within you. And so when you shift your program into, I only choose my happiest moments in this reality, me to feel happiest with what's happening. And even if something does come at you, you use that as a boundary. If it's something that's negative, okay, there's a boundary there. I don't want to go towards that. And you use it to navigate rather than to be absorbed into the drama or be absorbed into the story again. And if you are absorbed into the story again, then there's still something within you that is resonating with that enough to be absorbed. And so you have to look at doing that shadow work again, like look at who you are and how you feel about yourself. What's your self-talk? What's your feeling in the moment? You'll see that something attracted that to you. The next, so I only read a little bit of that. It's not about what others think about us, but rather how we feel about ourselves. This is going to change everything, because our choices will be made from this new perspective. And when we make a firm choice, our will be thy command. And that is so important at the moment, to know thyself strong enough to know that your will is not a victim. Your will is strong enough to say, no, that's not going to happen in my reality. I'm sorry. I don't know how the story is going to turn out, but I'm not going to play that game. That game is not my game anymore, because I know I've already learnt the value of that game within myself, of how to get myself out of it. That was the value of how to get yourself out of it. And so I can get myself out of it at any given moment anyway. So anything that you've been sucked into in the past, you were asking to find a value of how to get yourself out. And once you get yourself out, now you know how to navigate that as a boundary, or something that you're not resonating with anyways. And so you move towards something new that you want to create using your imagination again. The clearer you are, the more risks you can take, because the fear of those risks fall away when you trust and support yourself in this world. So the clearer you are, and I literally felt this over in New Zealand. So after I found my team channeled messages for me to dig up in the sand, find that solid gold bracelet, they started to work with me with my mind. And there was a moment there after 2 years of working with them where I was absolutely clear. And I mean absolutely clear. It wasn't because things weren't happening around me. It wasn't because I could still see things like around me, but I wasn't attaching to any of the stories. My clarity allowed me to skim over any of the stories. I didn't have any emotions attached to them. And that gave me the strength, or this will, to be able to jump into leaving New Zealand and moving to Australia. And I had not done anything like that. This was all on my own. I had to leave my daughter at that time because she had a court order held for her to stay in New Zealand. But I knew, because my clarity was so precise, that I had premonition dreams of the school that she was going to be attending in Australia, and that she was going to live with me anyway. So I took this massive leap of faith away from my daughter, knowing full well that she was going to come with me or be with me. And then when I moved to Australia, it was the first, I moved to one town, and then ended up meeting somebody and moved to another town. And when I moved to the other town, it was only like about 6 months later, and I'd already pre-booked all of her flights to come and visit me every single holiday. It would have been probably less than that, 3-4 months, 5 months, about 5 months later, we ended up moving to another town. I saw the school that she was going to go to, and it was exactly the same. So I'm like, oh my God, there's that school. I know she's going to live with me. I have no worries about this whatsoever anymore. So we get this clarity where our reality starts to meet us because we are clear within our own mind of becoming at peace with yourself, and it's because I knew how to navigate my mind. So they keep showing me these days of a picture that I drew, an image that I drew of Athena with holding keys and these pillars, stone pillars, and behind me. And this came up, the stone pillars, and this whole choosing one's soul to come here actually came up in the Bedford studio at Ground Zero in New York as well. But in any case, they keep showing me. I actually drew this picture of Athena holding keys. I didn't even know what Athena was at that moment. I just wrote Athena underneath this image. And then I found out that she was the actual goddess of wisdom and war. And I think the war comes in because humanity's mind had got sucked into warring itself with its intuition. And so she represented, in that moment of humanity's consciousness, the war that was going on within our own mind. But she was also wisdom. And so it was the wisdom of knowing oneself to navigate out of the war within one's mind that is going to expand humanity's consciousness back into peace again. And there's something about us, we are the ones, she held the keys, and they kept showing me holding the keys as well. So, I mean, and you and everyone else, like everyone from your own perspective, you are your own source energy, you are your own creator. So you hold the keys to your own experience that you are creating. You unlock the doors, you unlock the portals or the doors, and they're showing me doors now where imagination is behind each door. Your imagination is connected to past lives and past scenarios that you hold the key to those scenarios of your soul's experience going on those past lives. And so you can open the door to those experiences that you want to bring in to the here and now and ground them on with Mother Earth. Now, she would not have allowed you, Mother Earth would not have allowed your frequency to be entangled with hers unless she saw value in you. So you are born, you are free, you can navigate this how you wish, which means how you feel the most happiest for you, the most peace for you. You are in charge of your life, how you want to navigate this. So important at the moment because of this expansion that's happening with humanity's consciousness in the here and now. We need to understand the importance of you holding these keys or these codes to your imagination as you are navigating this new beginning. And you can change, you can say, okay, I'm going to try that door and see if I feel in resonance with that being productive for myself and all that is surrounding me, being that anything that is outside of you is part of you as well. Remember, this is not an ego base where it's just directed just for you. It's everyone that is in your reality that you come across is part of you as well. And if you are navigating your story correctly, then they will feel the happiest they feel every time they come near you as well. So you become the ignition of their happiness because they start to see that in the mirror reflection of you and your happiness. So yeah, and they're showing me that you can open a door of imagination and then go, oh, I'll feel into this. Do I want to ground this or do I not? And you can shut that door if you want and open another door if you want. You don't have to be, oh my God, I've opened that door. That means it all comes rushing in and I turn into psychotic person that's just lost it. No, this is why you did the shadow work, to be able to control your thoughts, to be able to control your frequency up till now. So this is really important for you to understand that you have the reins to your thoughts, to you navigating your next part of your life. When you have that, and if you don't feel you have that, keep working on that. That's okay, because it's going to become easier and easier as you go along, because many of us are starting to navigate our thoughts now and have control over what we're going to create in this next reality. This is the power of the feminine side of ourselves, matching the power of the masculine side of ourselves, and being accepting as one, and then navigating from that point of view. So much messages coming through at the moment, guys. It's very beautiful, though, where we're going to go. I'm literally feeling lightheaded in the moment. Hang on a sec. Yeah, there's a lot that's coming through. We can ground so much more. The stories that we have in our head, there's something, they're bringing up fairy tales for some reason, fairy tales, and seeing the truth of there's magic in the fairy tales, or there's magic that wants to be grounded in the fairy tales. They were held, or the codes of that magic was held in the fairy tales for the specific timelines to be opened up as well, because there was a lot of truth in those fairy tales, or codes in those fairy tales, that are like hidden truths of humanity's history. They are showing me the whole point of like Snow White, and Snow White who fell asleep, Sleeping Beauty fell asleep. This is all representing the right hemisphere falling asleep, the feminine side falling asleep, and the truth of the shield of virtue and the sword of truth needs to be held by the masculine to be able to understand the power of the masculine back in its authentic self, to be able to help navigate or kiss the right hemisphere and say, yes, I do accept your imagination coming through. There's something about, there's a lot of these codes within the fairy tales as well that want to show up. I did do in the past new codes of the fairy tales. I did one video of that. I'll see if I can find the link and then link it below after this. I will promise I will do that, because sometimes I say these things and then I get sucked into the moment and forget. So sorry if I do that. I'm trying to be more grounded now as well, so that these things that I say, that I promise I actually do. I did ask Julie for her connection to her place that I was staying at, but we just forgot. It just didn't happen. So, any case, I'll see if there's anything else coming through at the moment. Yeah, I probably should do another fairy tale one with more codes coming through from those fairy tales as well. There's a lot there. But you can even watch fairy tales. For some reason, they're saying not some of those modern fairy tales where they've twisted them into darkness. Yeah, nah. They're saying there was the original fairy tales that had darkness entwined into it for a purpose, but not so deep that it just gets lost in the darkness. Yeah, anything that was written or produced was always after the telepathic connection of Lemuria times anyway, where we were at one with each other and we didn't need to write anything down. Yeah. See if I don't know if there's anything else at the moment, and I'm literally feeling very lightheaded. So yeah, I think I'll leave it there, guys. But whew, that was full on. Tanya, you're going through a bit of stress at the moment. It happens. That's okay. It's not, don't get down on yourself for any of that. Just sit with it and feel into it and ask yourself, or ask to be shown an easier path. If I get too much stress, I always ask to be shown an easier path. And then when that path starts to show up, whether it's a message in my mind or a dream showing me, then I follow through. I follow through with that. I'll explain a little bit more of that actually before I go, because this is really relevant to the here and now as well. So this is one of those stories that I've held close to me because of the nature of it, but I'll share it with you. So after I was after I left an ex that was pretty nasty, and it was a traumatic breakup, like caught him cheating, bet me up, the whole thing, broken bones, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So that happened. When that happened, I had to look after my daughters, which were teenage daughters at the time. We took off, and it was just this survival kind of a frantic feeling, trying to keep myself as peaceful as I could through the trauma. And I remember thinking when I was in the hotel, I'm going to repress some of this trauma, because I can't look at it at the moment, because I need to look after my girls and myself. And so I repressed the trauma, and then it didn't come up until I left my last partner, who was literally a friend of mine in the end. I mean, I absolutely loved him, but we were just friends pretty much for a year and a half, when we just lived together as friends. And it's still, when I left him, the trauma all came back up again, and I didn't associate it. I didn't get where it was coming from. So PTSD, whatever you want to call it. And then I went from there. My team literally got me to shift. So I kept feeling into this trauma. And so I went from there to another place, house sitting. And then I was like, oh, trauma. And then from there, I went to New Zealand, to my girlfriend's place, trauma. This is just a few days. Every time I went to shift, I felt this trauma. And then I went to my girlfriend's place. I felt the anxiety again, the trauma again. And then I went from there to New Zealand. I felt the trauma. And then I went from New Zealand to New York. I felt the trauma just before then. And then I was in New York, and I started to feel this anxiety build up again just before I was going to leave to come back home. And I'm like, there's something wrong here. I keep feeling trauma every time just before I'm going to leave a place. And I didn't understand where it's coming from. And so I put out to the universe, okay, I need to cut this. I need to get this out. This anxiety has to leave. I don't know how. I don't know why. I don't know how this is going to happen. Now, I had a dream that night of my ex, my very first husband. And what we tend to do in dreams is, because we don't want to face the traumaticness using the actual person, we'll go to something similar. And so I went to my very first ex-husband, and he was having problems. So my logical mind was having problems with the move. So he was representing my logical mind having problems. And I said to him, you have to get help. You have to go and ring up and get help, seek help. And then I woke up from that dream, and I'm like, oh my God, I need to physically reach out so that my logical brain can make peace of this. Physically reach out for help. So I walked out, I felt into the energy, I started to bawl my eyes out, all the anxiety, I just let it be present. I walked out, and I saw Yin, who was walking her dog. And then I just walked up to her, I was a mess. And she's like, what's wrong? Like, she's never seen me a mess. This is why I've held this tight to me, because I'm like, oh my God. Okay, so I was a mess. And then as we started to talk, she calmed me down. She had this presence about her, probably because she's a soul tribe member. And she just completely calmed me down and said, you are safe no matter what. I am here for you. You are safe. You are safe. And as soon as she said those words, the anxiety left. I had no more anxiety, and I have not felt, I still had a few more days to go before I was leaving, never felt any anxiety in that trip. I'm coming back home, nothing. And I've just left my like I then dropped off at my girlfriend's place for 3 weeks before I came to house sit again. No anxiety moving here. Like the anxiety has dropped. I feel very safe again. My logical mind feels safe in this reality. So you can ask. Now everyone's different, right? So my experience of releasing PTSD was my individual unique experience. And it was needed for me to see how to navigate that logical mind that was holding on to a story that hadn't been addressed yet. And so this is how I ended up getting the help. I asked for the help, and the help ends up coming back to me. And then whether it be a dream, somebody coming up to you and saying something specific, just a message or something, or maybe my messages that's coming to you, you just click on a YouTube, someone gives you a message, something like that. Could be absolutely anything. Could be that you just get this profound understanding. Could be anything. You read a book, whatever. It doesn't matter, but a message will come to you, and then follow through. Like if I hadn't followed through and been vulnerable enough to seek help from yin in that moment, I'd still have the anxiety to this day, because my logical brain was seeking something outside of it to give it that reassurance, that peace, and in a grounded sense. I had to do it in a grounded sense, which means physically do it, physically ask for help. So yeah, that might help you with any anxiety that you have or any PTSD or something, but that's how I just got through it myself. So that's going to help you as well. I know that's a little bit of a different story from the title in this video, but I think it was necessary to come out. And yeah, and sometimes I feel my team takes me through these journeys so that I can share them with you of how I navigated myself out of them, so that I can help you guys. So, and I'm strong enough to be able to handle it. So yeah, and find a way out. So love you guys anyway. Needed to share that. Until next time. See you. Bye.